Welcome to Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show. Glad to have you with us. We're going to be talking about Fight Night 131, Marlon Moraes versus Jimmy Rivera. We're going to get into the two plays that we have. One of them is a best bet play, which will be my 2-unit play, and I will also have one other play, which will probably be about 1 unit as well, but we will get into that as we go on with the show. We had our best bet last week that hit 2 units on Darren Till at plus 150, able to cash in there, as well as my 1-unit play was on Amir Khani at plus 150 as well, able to cash in on that one as well. So didn't do too bad last week. Felt pretty good to get those 2 victories. Had them parlayed, had them all different types of ways. It was really a great card to cash in and make some money. So let's keep that going. Let's keep that going, Fight Club. So what we're going to be getting into is the card. But before we do, I do want to remind everybody, if you have not yet done so, to subscribe to this channel, Fight Club TV. It's a gambling and UFC channel all in one spot. We talk about all the fights, all the cards, and we get into everything in the comment section. A very interactive community here, whether you're interacting with each other or interacting with myself. All of us are very active in the comment section, so subscribe if you want to get involved. So, all right. First one we're going to be talking about is the best bet play. Now, the best bet play, again, is 18 wins, 7 losses, plus 16.3 units for the year. And the best bet will be on the fight that is between Jimmy Rivera versus Marlon Moraes, the main event of the evening. So, going to get into, just briefly, some of their past fights, some things that I saw. This is not a place that we run down a bunch of statistics or we talk about. This is going to be purely what we believe is happening in these fights and their tendencies that are going to be passing over to the next fight, and opportunities where maybe an opponent can expose something. That a weakness, maybe a spot that they're not as successful at, and that's what we're trying to piece together here to handicap the fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section, what you guys think of my picks, and in general, what do you have on this card. So, going over first is Marlon Moraes. Now, let's talk about him for a minute here. He is 20-5. He was a World Series of Fighting champion. He defended that belt 6 times within that organization. He's now, into the UFC, 3 fights into the UFC. We're going to go over those 3 fights very briefly. The first one, I'm not going to really dive into. It was against a Sunsao. It was his debut fight within the UFC in Brazil. Very close fight. I thought he's got great combinations. I thought he looked pretty good in that fight. Very close. A Sunsao gets the split decision victory. But that's not really what I want to highlight. It's really this next fight with Dodson is that I really think is maybe a nugget or 2 that we can take into this coming fight against Jimmy Rivera. So in this fight against Dodson, first thing, the first round, there was one groin kick, and then after that, there was an eye gouge, all from Moraes, and Dodson was battered early in that fight for illegal shots he was hit with. So Dodson was able to get himself together, and the thing that was the most telling to me within this fight is the fact that Dodson, who is not a guy that's going to be able to just ground and pound you, but very quick, very underrated, but very quick, was able to take down Moraes 3 times. Now, he wasn't able to just hold him down there and able to just, smash him down from that position, but he was able to take him down, and that's something that we need to take a look at when you're talking about Jimmy Rivera, who is a fantastic wrestler, who has got great takedowns, very strong. Interesting to see that Dodson was able to manipulate and get him to the ground. But in that fight again, Dodson did some damage, and you saw Moraes go from early on, and he did the same thing in the Sunsao fight. Early on, that first round, Moraes is very aggressive. He's aggressive, he comes strong, he really explodes early in that first round. But he seems to slow down as the fight goes on. And maybe later on, he tries to dig deep and throw a lot of combinations and almost try to mask how tired he is. But I feel like I really saw that he was getting tired as the fight progressed. He just slowed down his output his striking output throughout the fight. And I really thought that that was something that when you're talking about a 5-round fight and you're talking about a guy that may not have the full endurance, that's something that needs to be discussed when we're trying to handicap a fight. And then the other fight after that, so let me go back now. Split decision, loss against Assunção. Then he had a split decision win against Dodson. And then he went up against Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain got brutally knocked out by a knee. Now, that knee is up for debate. Some people say he meant to do it. Some people say it was just kind of a collision. And, obviously Aljamain took the worst of it and took the brunt of it. But he gets the incredible knockout victory from that. And you can't really take that fully away from him, but that's a fight I really would like to have seen more of. And I think that would help us more when you're handicapping a fight. But I think that's just that he as he's moving up in competition, the more we can get, the more information we can get out of a fight, the longer it goes on, we can really start to dive into the information. But there, he gets the knockout. But I really think the telling sign is the fact that Dodson was able to take down Moraes 3 times in that fight. Now going over to Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera is 21-1. He won his first professional fight, lost, and now he's won 20 fights in a row. It's the second longest streak within the UFC. Obviously, the number one is going to be Khabib with 26 wins. So he has the longest standing streak in the UFC. Now, if you go back to 3 fights of Jimmy Rivera. Now, Jimmy Rivera went up against Alcantara, and in that fight, Jimmy Rivera, first of all, is just very aggressive style. He likes to push forward, he likes to explode with the hooks, and if he has to, he comes in and gets the takedowns. But he continues to push, continues with the pressure, continues with that forward movement, walking down his opponent. Now, in this fight, I thought was the most telling sign was in this fight against Alcantara, he took him down 3 times. And he's able to not just take a guy down, not just drag him down. I mean, he's literally able to pick the guy's body up and body slam him. And he's got a lot of strength. A lot of strength. And I think that's a telling sign when you're talking about a guy that is facing more of a kickboxer who may look for those takedowns and to expose that weakness. Now, in that fight, he was able to get the victory against Alcantara, and that was another decision victory. Then he fought Faber, and this fight, obviously, he did not look for any takedowns. Faber is very well-rounded, when it comes to his ground game, his stand-up game, very well-rounded. And there, great job with the leg kicks, was able to really lead with the leg kicks, soften up Faber. Faber was not able to move as much once he continued to just literally chop him down in that fight. And the endurance of Jimmy Rivera, he has many of his fights go the distance. Many of them do. Where Moraes has had a lot of finishes in his career, but obviously Rivera has that ability to go longer within a fight, and he does not look to ever slow down. He continues to push, he continues to work, he continues to really put output striking in every fight. And that was more of a chess match, I would say, against Faber. It wasn't really anything I would say that was very highlight reel when it came to that fight. But I thought that he fought well, he fought smart. I think it showed his fight IQ. I don't think it just showed the fact that he was out there and dropping bombs. He landed some nice shots, but I thought that he knew Faber was going to be very quick and tried to chop him down and slow him down with those leg kicks. And that's something, again, that he may be able to use when he fights Moraes. And then Jimmy Rivera versus Thomas Almeida, and that was a great fight. They really just stood and scrapped. And the thing there that I didn't like about Jimmy Rivera was the fact that he really allowed himself to be exposed because he was throwing. He's very aggressive with those hooks, but he was throwing them literally like nothing mattered. I mean, he was willing to throw a bomb, whether it missed or landed, but trying to get the finish, but he was willing to leave his chin out in that fight. And that's something that worries me when you come to Moraes, who has power. I'm really hoping he's able to at least keep a little bit more of his hands up, be a little bit more smarter when it comes to that. He definitely has shown that he is progressing and elevating through each fight. He continues to get better. So again, now as we kind of scrambled through those three fights for each of them. The takeaway for me really is, and the way that I see this fight kind of playing out, is the fact that I believe that Jimmy Rivera is going to always be walking forward. And obviously, Moraes, who's the kickboxer, got tremendous kickboxing. If he continues to push and just tire him down, and if Rivera can get inside, make it sloppy, and at least work him and make Moraes work, I don't see a guy that has struggled to, I wouldn't say struggled to get through 3 rounds, but has shown that his stamina really decreases later in that end of the second into the third, late in the third. He has shown that he does not put out that big output. And in a 5-round fight with a guy that won't finish you, I mean, Jimmy Rivera is not getting finishes. So this fight is probably more than likely going to deep water. This is going to be going into a 4th round, a 5th round. I see that. I don't see a short a knockout early. Although it's obviously possible because these guys throw haymakers throughout the fight, I just think that this is going to be something where he's going to get the takedowns. He's going to be able to leverage that. He's going to get some ground and pound in there. And I think he's going to be able to possibly get the finish. But if it's going to be a finish, it's going to be late because I think that that's where Moraes is not going to be able to defend himself. Or at least he's not going to have the stamina to really get up when Rivera takes him down. So I have 2 units on Jimmy Rivera at -114. So that's the odds. I should have probably said at the beginning. Currently the odds, Jimmy Rivera is -114. Marlon Moraes is -106. So it's basically a pick'em at this point. But I really think that that's great money, great value on Jimmy Rivera. I think he's incredibly well-rounded. He is really, I think, a shooting star within this division. I think he's got great opportunities. Really hope he wins this because I would love to see who he's going to fight next. I really would love to see who he's going to fight next. But I think as good of a stand-up game as he has and his terrific wrestling and takedown ability that he has, I think it's just going to be too much for Moraes to withstand. I have 2 units on Jimmy Rivera at -114, and that is a best bet play. The best bet play again this year is 18 wins, 7 losses, plus 16.3 units for the year, and that's the best bet play. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Agree, disagree, hate it, like it. We'll have a conversation about it. Now, the other play that we will be talking about is like I said, it's going to be either a 1 unit, half a unit. I'm not really going big on this one. Is going to be between Jake Ellenberger and Ben Saunders. This fight's me, and I'll try to go over it as quickly as I can since this is not the best bet play. But here between these 2 guys, you've got guys that are losing. You've got guys that have had a couple losses in a row. Ben Saunders is 21-9, and Jake Ellenberger is 31-13. Saunders is about 36, I believe, and Ellenberger is 33. And both of them have taken some brutal knockouts over the last couple fights. And the thing to me here is the opponent level of what they've each faced. And you look at who Ben Saunders has fought over his career compared to who Ellenberger has fought over his career. I mean, Ellenberger, if you go back over his entire career, I mean, he's 33, but you go over some of these guys. I mean, you got Nate Marquardt, Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler, Kelvin Gastelum, Koscheck, Stephen Thompson, Matt Brown, Jorge Masvidal, and Mike Perry. I mean, those are 8-9 guys that are very good, very on the elite side of things. And of course, he has not won all of those. He's lost a bunch and he's won a couple. But it's just he's been in the cage with that level of competition, and that's something to me that speaks volumes when you're going up against a guy like Ben Saunders. Now, Ben Saunders has not really faced that level. He's fought a couple decent guys, but as I go over very quickly some of the guys he beat. Court McGee, and then now again, I always like to go back 3 fights. He beat Court McGee in a decision. Wasn't that exciting of a fight. But then against Peter Zabata, and this fight he lost in the 2nd round TKO. But that first round he got dropped. Ben Saunders got dropped twice. Looked like he was stumbling all over the place late in that first round. Into the second, it looked like he had no gas tank. He looked like he really didn't have anything left. He was just taking shot after shot after shot. It was just a matter of time before Zabata to put him away. And that to me, again, was speaking volumes that a guy more at the end of his career, because I believe if he loses this, there is a very good chance that he's retiring. There is a very good chance that he's retiring. So I think this is a spot possibly that Ellenberger can expose. And then you've got against Alan Jouban, and I actually like Jouban. I think he's another guy that's underrated, a good skill set, and can move up. I think if he puts it together, he can go far within the UFC. But now in this situation, now you've got Jouban, who had a lot more stamina throughout that fight, and I think he just looked a lot cleaner, a lot quicker. And Saunders is very slow. He's got a good guard, a good rubber guard. He does put things together when he's on his back. But the thing about that is that I feel like he doesn't have much strength. He's got the reach. He's got a 77-inch reach compared to Ellenberger's 71-inch reach. But he just, again, in that fight, it was early on in that fight, he was taking some big shots he was taking and not really blocking. Those two fights against Zapata and Jouban, I mean, he was taking shot after shot. He was pushing forward. I think there were spots there he could have actually done a little bit better and pieced together a couple combinations, but he just didn't really do much. I just really didn't think that he did much there. It was, again, the same thing. He was very tired in that second round, exhausted, and that was Jouban was able to put him away in that fight, knocking him out in spectacular fashion. And that, again, to me, Saunders just didn't have much. He just did not have much in the tank. Now you look at Ellenberger. Over his last 3 fights, he fought Matt Brown. He beat Matt Brown in a nice TKO in the first round. But then look who he fought and he lost to recently. I mean, we just said it before, but Jorge Masvidal, who has got one of probably the best boxing in the division, maybe one of the best boxing techniques in the division. He's fantastic, great striker, and that's the kind of thing he picked Ellenberger apart. But I thought that the first round, it actually looked like it was going fairly well for him. It was actually starting to go fairly well for him. But the weird part about this fight, and it goes in as a TKO loss, but the weird part about this fight was the fact that Ellenberger got his foot caught in the fence, and he couldn't get it out, and kind of rolled out, and Masvidal, kept moving forward. They to strike. They stopped the fight. They said that Ellenberger was unable to protect himself, and they ended the fight. Masvidal gets a TKO victory. Very weird fight. I mean, Masvidal still looked fantastic in that fight, but I thought Ellenberger was somewhat hanging in there with the guy that I think Masvidal should easily beat Ellenberger, and I thought Ellenberger did okay in that fight up until getting his toe caught in the fence. And then the other fight against Mike Perry. Mike Perry knocks him out in the second round, but this was another fight that first round, first round, Ellenberger takes down Perry twice in that first round. I thought he had nice combinations. I thought he was landing. Perry, I guess the jury is still out on him and how good he is because of recent losses that he's had, but Mike Perry pushes forward and lands one big shot that puts Ellenberger away. So with that said, I really look at the fact that this is something that Ellenberger should put together a nice showing. I just don't see that Saunders at this point has anything left in the gas tank. You got Jake Ellenberger at -170. You got Ben Saunders at +147. I just think Ellenberger putting a unit to a half a unit on him, I think he gets the job done here. I don't really see an upside from Saunders. I don't really see a path to victory for him. I think Ellenberger has a lot more ways to finish him. I think he's going to possibly knock him out, TKO him. I don't really see much energy. Even if it goes late, I think if it goes further, I don't see Ben Saunders being able to really do anything in that late second, third round. So even if that goes to that situation, I believe Ellenberger gets the decision victory, and I think that that's just the way it would go. Either way, he can put him away or win on the scorecards. I don't really see Saunders doing enough to outpoint him if it goes to a decision. So I'm going to be putting one unit on Jake Ellenberger at -170. And those are my two plays. We have Jake Ellenberger, 1 unit at -170. And then we also have Jimmy Rivera, 2 units. It's the best bet play. and at -114. And there you have it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. This is a card here that I think we can make some more money on. Let me know if you are jumping on the best bet or if you guys are looking elsewhere to make some money. Let me know if you got some parlays going. We'll be having the Let's Chat discussion video out later in the week before the card. So if you have not yet done so, subscribe to the channel. This is UFC Gambling all in one spot, and this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.